Hey, folks, Dr. Joe here. Welcome. Glad you could be with us today. What we're going to talk about today is a problem that faces so many people, and that's fatigue. How many people are tired? Raise your hands. How many people are too tired to raise your hands? Yeah. So it's a big issue. We're going to talk about what causes fatigue, and then most importantly, what do you do about it? So that's what we're going to do. If you're new to the show, the way it works is I talk for 24 minutes. You listen for 24 minutes, and then if you have any questions, type them in whatever platform you're on. I will be more than happy to take a break at 24 minutes, answer your questions. I'll have my producers read the questions to me. Then we'll do another 24 minutes, and then we'll answer more questions. So it's a great opportunity to get those questions answered on healthcare for you, your friends, your family, anyone. So that's how the game is played. So do me a favor, if you're listening live, put in hashtag live. If you're listening as a replay, put in hashtag replay. Appreciate that. Lets the bots know that you're out there listening. And I guess we're ready to rock and roll. Garrett says yes. Okay, here we go. Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. I am happy you're with me today. Today, we're going to talk about fatigue. How many people are fatigued? Raise your hands. How many people are too tired to raise your hands? I know, a lot of you are. So what happens is we're burning the candle on all ends, both ends, maybe all ends, depends how you're doing it, and you get exhausted. And it happens. It's part of human nature. It's okay. But when it becomes an issue, when it starts affecting your life, that's when it becomes a real serious problem. So, of course, not getting enough sleep, well, that's going to make you tired. That's real obvious. Other possibilities could be nutritional deficiencies, stress, underlying health conditions, drug side effects. If you have chronic fatigue, you really need to see a doctor about that. So if you're feeling overly tired, you need a little more energy, you're like just about everybody else in the world. So don't think you're special. Everybody's got these problems. But we're going to talk about why today. And if you listen to my shows in the past, you know I always want to get to the cause of the problem and not just treat the symptoms. And so often we treat the symptoms. You have a cup of coffee, maybe you do some speeds, pills, and that doesn't fix anything. Same thing with pain. We can cover up the pain, but we need to fix it. So I want to talk about how to fix the cause of your problems. So if it's something simple as lack of sleep, maybe you're coming down with a cold or the flu, it can be a symptom of other health issues. So that's why you don't want to ignore it. You want to get to the cause of the problem. So most cases, fatigue is easily remedied by lifestyle changes, diet modifications, fixing the nutritional deficiencies, and then trying to get to the underlying medical cause. And that's really the challenge, because a lot of times people or doctors don't know how to find the underlying cause. And this frustrates me about healthcare, and I've been in healthcare now, well, I've been in practice almost 39 years, so I've been around a long time. And it frustrates me because doctors are very quick to try to cover up the symptom, and very few are detectives. And I'm not knocking my colleagues. They're very good at what they do. I don't do surgery. I don't do gynecology. I don't do eye exams. My colleagues are very good at what they do. But what we're really good at is getting to the cause of your healthcare problem, whether it's pain, whether it's fatigue, maybe it's acid reflux, maybe it's headaches. We try to dig deep and get to the cause. So if we can figure out the cause, usually we can go ahead and then fix it. So let's talk about some potential reasons as to why you're so tired all the time. And of course, the number one is you're not getting enough sleep. Many of us don't get enough sleep, and that can lead to fatigue. So during sleep, your body performs a number of critical processes. It releases growth hormones, it repairs, it regenerates cells. That's why most people wake up feeling refreshed, alert, energized after a quality night's sleep. Now, some people drag themselves when they get out of bed. I don't. I get up, I'm okay. My father, rest his soul, he was the best at that. He'd wake up, jump out of bed, run downstairs. I mean, he was amazing how he did that. Some people drag a little bit. Either way is okay. There is no right way of doing it. But if you drag a little bit, you have to kind of jumpstart your body. I'll give you some tips on how to do that in a second. So even though sleep should be individualized for most people, 7 hours is a good number to shoot for. Now, there's several things that can interrupt your sleep. Number one is temperature. The temperature of the room is key. You want to, and average people do well between 68 and 72 degrees. Some people like it freezing, and then they put a sweater on and socks and a sweatshirt and a hoodie and crawl under bed with the air conditioner on. I'm logical. That makes no sense to me. I like to be comfortable, but I don't feel I should put a sweatshirt on. Other people say I have to get to that level to sleep. Whatever works for you. You find out what temperature works for you. Another thing that's going to interrupt your sleep is waking up to pee. Now, when you're a teenager, it's probably not a big issue. But as you get older, especially for men, you have a harder time because your prostate swells. For women, your muscles become weaker. Men, the muscles become weaker. So you may have to get up and pee in the middle of the night, and that can disrupt your sleep. Some people can just get up, pee, go back to bed as if nothing ever happened. Don't even remember it happened. Other people, you lay in bed going, I'm wide awake. What do I do now? So a little thing that I do is I try to not drink a lot of fluids anytime after 3 o'clock in the afternoon if I'm going to bed normal times at night. So at least 4 or 5 hours. Don't have anything big to drink. You have a sip of water or something like that. But if you're going to have soups, if you're going to have smoothies, chances are you're going to have to get up and pee, especially if you're older. So you got to decide what's that timeline. Go 4 hours out, 5 hours out, 6 hours out, and see what works best for you. But people say, well, I have to wake up and pee all the time. Well, stop drinking 4 glasses of water before you go to bed. It's really not hard to figure some of those out. Now, could be a swollen prostate. If it is, gentlemen, you need to get that checked. And if it is, you want to make sure it's not cancerous. And there are certain things you can do to make it work. And one of the things you can do are essentially Kegel exercises for men. Women can do Kegel exercise. Basically, you squeeze as if you're holding your urine and then relax. Squeeze, relax. And that works because sometimes women, when they cough or sneeze, will pee a little bit. And as I'm getting older, I'm finding out that most women over 40 pee a little bit when they cough or sneeze. So if you have that problem, Kegel exercises. For men, it's the same thing. You can do them right now if you want to. And all you have to do is squeeze like you're peeing and then stopping, and then peeing and then stopping. You can build up those muscles because they get weaker as you get older. And that could also help control urine. So pee is a big issue as to why we don't sleep as well. And then, of course, doing any stimulants late at night. If you're doing coffee, if you're doing, maybe you're doing alcohol drink with coffee for after dinner drink. I'm amazed how many people do that. That's going to obviously have an adverse effect on your sleep. Now, I'm amazed because I've known people that can drink a cup of coffee and then go to sleep. They might be getting to sleep, but they may not. I'm not saying they are. They may not be getting that deep, deep sleep, that rapid eye movement sleep, because the caffeine could be keeping them awake. Some people are amazing. They can do it, and it's just some genetics, I guess. I don't know, but just something to consider. So you can track your sleep. You can get these little wristbands, and they can track your sleep. Those are all well and good, but they only tell you you're not sleeping. They don't tell you what to do about it. So if you're experiencing insomnia, again, cutting out the water is great. There are certain herbs you can take. Melatonin is something that's recommended for sleep. I'm going to tell you why I'm not a fan of melatonin supplements. Because if you take melatonin, it's a hormone, your body says, Joe, you've got plenty of melatonin. I don't have to make my own anymore. And so my own natural melatonin production slows down. And then when I come off the supplemental melatonin, then I have trouble because I'm not making my own. Same thing with testosterone and other hormones. I'm not a fan of taking what we call exogenous hormones, meaning from the outside source. I'd rather fix you internally so you can make your own. One of the big issues I find with sleep is that people have acid reflux. So if you have acid reflux, you might snore, you might have burping, gas, burning in your back of your throat. And if that's the case, you're not digesting your food properly. And one of the things your stomach digests is protein. It's the main thing, actually. And it takes proteins and breaks them into something called amino acids. The amino acid named tryptophan becomes serotonin in your brain, and serotonin becomes melatonin. So I'd rather get you fixed on the digestive side so you can start making your own melatonin, as opposed to having to go outside and taking from an outside source. And very few people talk about that. So you can track your sleep, but if you have acid reflux, there's actually a technique my doctors, I've taught them, where you can take your stomach and gently pull it down away from the diaphragm and fix the acid reflux. Get to the cause of the problem, not just treat the symptoms. The other thing with acid reflux is that you may not have enough stomach acid. Because your stomach produces acid, and the acid breaks down to protein. But the acid sends a message to the valve. It's called the lower esophageal sphincter. And it tells the valve to close so that acid in food doesn't reflux up into the throat. If you don't have enough stomach acid, it's not sending a message to the valve to tell the valve to close, and so the valve can't close. So we can give you medications to shut down your acid production, and this way you don't have as much acid reflux, it works, but now you don't have enough stomach acid. And you need stomach acid to digest your proteins. So, as Elvis Presley said, you're caught in a trap. So I'm not a big fan of taking those medications if there's a way to fix it without them. And that's always my always approach. If there's a way to fix something without the drugs and surgery, let's do that. If it's not, then let's go ahead and do the drugs and the surgery. But almost always in our society, we jump right to the end game. Take the drugs, take the surgery. Had a patient come in this week, and he had neck surgery and back surgery. And he had a little problem with his shoulder. They did an MRI, and they said, oh, your spinal cord's getting compressed. We have to do surgery, or chances are you're going to be paralyzed. Did the surgery, and ever since the surgery, he's having weakness in his arm, and it's constant pain, headaches. It's affecting his life. It's affecting his marriage. Now, most surgeries are successful, but I would rather have tried to fix it without the surgery. And then if you need the surgery, absolutely positively do that. And I don't think there's a doctor on this earth that's going to say out loud, no, don't do it that way. Let's do the surgery first. I mean, unless it's an emergency, you need the surgery, of course. But doctors will say out loud, I always want you to go a conservative route first. But ironically, they don't tell people to do that. If you ask them, they'll say, yeah, let's do conservative first. But if not, they'll say, let's do the surgery. And that aggravates me about healthcare. And I'm not going to lie to you. I have a lot of friends that are surgeons, and the ones I befriend are usually the ones that will say, listen, go see Joe first. Let's try to fix things without the surgery. If we can't, then let's do the surgery. Those are the doctors I associate with, but that's not the story I'm hearing with most doctors out there. So I have a lot of beefs with the healthcare system, and that's one of them. So we're talking today about why you're so tired all the time. And if you have acid reflux, that can be a problem. And if you're taking medications, that could be a problem too. We're going to talk about that in a second. Other things that can cause you not to have any energy, and this is really an extremely common one, it's nutritional deficiencies. Maybe you don't have enough iron. Maybe you don't have vitamin B2. Maybe you don't have enough vitamin B3. The B vitamins give you energy, B5, B6, B9, B12. All of these are related to give you energy. It's not like caffeine that gives you a burst of energy. They allow the body to metabolize nutrients more efficiently. And that's how you get your energy, which is the kind of energy you really want. Vitamin D, vitamin C, magnesium. I've been in practice a long time. We did a guess the other day. It's a total wild guess. I've probably seen about 20,000 patients in my career. And I'm fascinated how a major majority of them have nutritional deficiencies, and it's never been addressed. So I created something called Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. They're 2 powder products. And I did it to address this exact point, that so many people have deficiencies. Why don't we create something that will cover a lot of those deficiencies, a general starter kit for people? And that's what I have Super Greens and Essential Source for. Essential Source is prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, complete multivitamin, dried fruits and vegetables, digestive enzymes. I take that every day, and I can't imagine why you're not doing it too. We also have something called Super Greens, which has chlorella, spirulina, omega-3 fatty acids in it. Chlorella helps clean out the liver, and we're finding more and more, as my career goes on, that we're finally starting to pay attention to the liver. And we clean out the liver works more efficiently, and then everything gets better. Cholesterol oftentimes get better. Blood pressure, hormone levels start to balance. All these things start to come into play. So the liver is such a key player when it comes to your health. And now, finally, Dr. Joe was right. I talked about it 40 years ago. Finally, the mainstream healthcare is jumping on board with us. So liver is so key. And so Super Greens and Essential Source do so many different things as a starter kit. Vitamin D, almost everyone I've ever tested is deficient in vitamin D. We just don't get outside enough. So I want you outside at least 10 to 20 minutes a day in the sunlight, trying to cover at least your arms, your legs, your neck. Your skin should get a little warm. As soon as it starts to get warm, get out of the sun. You've had enough. Very few people, myself included, do that. So I recommend a vitamin D supplement every day. It's the cheapest insurance policy you'll ever buy. Literally pennies a day to get your dose of vitamin D. Nitric oxide, as we get older, our nitric oxide levels drop. And if you're eating things like sugar, high fructose corn syrup, fructose converts into glucose, and the process creates uric acid. Uric acid prevents nitric oxide from properly forming. So we already have a low nitric oxide, and our diet is lowering it more, and nitric oxide allows the blood vessels to open up and increase circulation and pump fluid and blood specifically through the whole body, including the brain, the sex organs, the liver. So nitric oxide is another thing that gets weaker as we get older. Adrenal support. Your adrenal glands start to poop out. And there are supplements you can take that are that'll actually jumpstart the adrenals. Okay, so Super Green, Essential Source, B Complex, nitric oxide, adrenal support, all these things are extremely common deficiencies that I see all the time. And it's a real easy, quick, inexpensive fix. And we have those all on our website, drjoe.com. You can order them. We will ship them the next business day. You can come by our offices in the Atlanta area, Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. Pick them up and save some shipping. But let's get to the cause of your healthcare problem. Let's stop treating the symptoms. Coffee. No one is deficient in coffee. You might be deficient in B vitamins or adrenal support or super greens or essential source. Those can be deficiencies. Nobody ever in the history of the world is deficient in coffee. Coffee just treats the symptoms. Now, a lot of people like coffee. I get that. Has some benefits. Not going to deny that. But I feel the negatives far outweigh the positives, especially if you can get all the positives from other sources without any of the negatives. So if you're going to drink coffee, I wish you wouldn't. But if you do, it has to be organic. A lot of the health benefits you hear from coffee are from organic coffee. Cholinergic acid, which helps increase metabolism. That it's like 10 times higher in organic than non-organic coffee. So if you're going to drink coffee, organic only. I prefer at least organic decaf. But if you're going to do regular, either one has to be organic. Or don't drink it. The chemicals and the pesticides and the mold that's found on the coffee, the fungus, it's not worth it. So if you're going to do coffee organic only, or just don't do it. But my goal is get you off the coffee. Another thing that can cause you to be tired is pain. If you have pain, it's exhausting. Anybody ever have pain? I bet you have. And when you have it, it just wipes you out. So if you have pain, let's find out why. I'm board certified in chiropractic. I'm also board certified in pain management. I'm also board certified in non-surgical orthopedics, and I'm double board certified in nutrition. I'm certified in traumatic brain injuries. Got a few degrees there. And we always try to get to the cause of the pain. Now, we manage the pain with other doctors. Sometimes we need medications or injections, but we try to get to the cause of the pain and not just treat the symptoms. So if you have pain, especially back pain, chiropractic is the most effective, least expensive treatment for back pain. So there's your answer. Find a chiropractor and go there. Find a good chiropractor. There's bad ones out. There's bad everything out there. So if you'd like to become our patient, and again, the Atlanta area, go to our website, drjoe.com, and you can book an appointment right online. We'd love to be your doctors because we do an analysis on every patient, nutrition, digestion. We talk about pain. We always try to get to the cause of the problem. We have a medical doctor on staff if we need medical treatment. So we really dig deep in trying to solve the problem from many different approaches. Usually it's by far the most expensive, the fastest, with the least amount of side effects in most cases. So drjoe.com, we'd love to see you. Normally the first visit is $940. We've reduced that for my listeners to $299. So you don't want to pass up that opportunity. That includes a nutrition evaluation, x-rays, going over the x-rays, first treatment, very, very thorough. I have patients come in every week that have been to other doctors of all kinds, and they say all the time, nobody has even come close to being this thorough in my analysis and my treatment. So we're glad to hear that. drjoe.com. So pain certainly could be a driver for why you're tired all the time. Because I have all sorts of problems. I have a traumatic brain injury. I was hit by a car when I was 10. I have a fracture in my low back. So there are periods in my life where the pain is flared up and it becomes a chronic pain situation. And I can't function. I can't move. I just want to lay down. I don't want to deal with people. So I know how exhausting pain can be. And if you have it, stop suffering. Biggest complaint I get is, why didn't I come see you guys sooner? Why did I suffer so long? My answer is, I don't know. Stress. Well, pain can be a stressor, of course. But there's emotional, chemical, and physical stress. Emotional stress is the stuff that we have as humans. And sadly enough, sometimes the stress is good. For example, if someone in your family dies and you miss them. In a weird way, that's good. That means you had the opportunity to have a connection with that person. I know people that never had that connection with people. I told a story a while ago as a gal I was dating many years ago. We were out on a bunch of people one time, and she goes, "Oh, my father died last week." What? And my father died last week. No emotional connection whatsoever to him. And it was a shame. He was an abusive father, and it was terrible. But it broke my heart to think that she didn't feel sorrow because of who it was. So some of the pain we feel is actually signs that we're human, but the emotional pain. But other emotional pain, we want to try to fix that the best we can. And if you can fix the chemical and the physical pain, the emotional pain's a lot easier to deal with. Fix the digestive system. Let's start digesting food to get amino acids, to create neurotransmitters to help the brain reset itself. Let's maybe do talk therapy. Let's go to counseling. I'm a huge advocate of counseling. I don't do it, but counselors are great. Most counselors are great. There's bad ones out there too. And the physical pain, of course, we're really good at. And the chemical pain, you cause it a lot. I can't do caffeine. I get a headache. I caused it. If I do caffeine, I get a headache. It might be your environment. It might be air fresheners. It might be mold in your house. It might be mold in your car. It might be a clogged air duct somewhere that has mold growing in it, or fungus or bacteria. So it could be environmental, but a lot of the nutritional stuff you have control over. And that's why I teach you so much about what to eat, what not to eat. And many times it's not so much what you do eat, it's what you avoid. And I always talk about the 7 deadly sins in nutrition, the 7 foods you want to cut back or cut out of your diet. And that would be alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. Now, if you're new to the shows, you're saying to yourself, but Dr. Joe, that's all I eat is alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. That's my whole life. Well, it's probably why you have pain. And I love when people say, well, Dr. Joe, I've drank alcohol and all my life and I don't have a problem. It's not a problem till it's a problem, and then it's a problem. It will catch up to you. No one is immune to putting toxins in their body and not having a reaction to it. It might not get you today, but it'll get you. And when it does, many times those folks crawl into my office and say, please, Dr. Joe, I need your help. I'm desperate. Then I'm happy to talk to them. So drjoe.com. One thing we can do is we can measure your stress level. You think, well, I don't have stress, because some of you have had a life that's always been stressful. You don't know anything else. So we can do a test here in the office. There's one, we can do a saliva test. We get a whole hormone package test and determine your cortisol levels. Cortisol is a stress hormone produced by your adrenal glands, and we can measure it. And in a perfect world, your cortisol spikes in the morning, drops off throughout the day, and at the end of the day, you're tired, you go to sleep. If you're under stress, the cortisol levels can be high throughout the whole day. That's a bad sign. What's worse than having constant high cortisol level? Constant low cortisol levels. That means your adrenal glands, generally speaking, are burned out, and they're not producing the hormones like they're supposed to. And so we can measure the cortisol. Is it high? Is it low? Is it where it's supposed to be? And then we can advise you what to do. I take Dr. Joe's adrenal support every day to support my adrenal glands. I stay away from stimulants. You should too. I take Super Greens and Essential Source and nitric oxide every day. You should too. I take B vitamins every day. Get the pattern here? So all the supplements we talk about are always on our website, drjoe.com. If you have questions, because I throw a lot of information out in these classes, I get that. If you have questions, send me an email through the website, drjoe.com. And I'm happy to answer your questions for you. Follow us on social media. We post every single day. 1-minute posts. We post other stuff too, but 1-minute posts. Little tips on healthcare. And we get sometimes 5,000, 10,000 followers a day. And we're growing. We only started doing this a few weeks ago. So we're blowing up like crazy. So you want to follow us at Dr. Joe Esposito. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Follow us on all the platforms. And I think you'll be fascinated when I give you these little bites, little tidbits of information on health, how it's going to change your life dramatically. And, of course, following social media is no charge. So it's really important you do that. If you're a podcast junkie, go to your podcast service and type in Dr. Joe for the health of it. Dr. Joe for the health of it. And we post at least 2 podcasts a week, sometimes more. So we have podcasts. We have social media. We have radio shows. We have our website, drjoe.com. We archive all our shows on the website. On Facebook and Instagram, we archive the shows that we do. We archive the podcast. Everything is available to you 24 hours a day. I can't make this any easier for you folks. But really, to get specific about you and your concerns, just come see us. Make an appointment. And the nice part is we can do that virtually too. Now, I'd rather you come in because we can't check your spine and things if it's virtual. But we can do nutritional consults, coaching. We're happy to do it. And we can do that virtually. Just go to the website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. You could book an appointment right online or call us. We accept almost all insurances, car accidents. Oh, if you're ever in a car accident, please, I'm begging you, If you're ever in a car accident, if the car's damaged, you're damaged. You need to come see us right away. Again, the website, drjoe.com. Folks, don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. All right. So much more to cover. I won't get it done in 24 minutes. All right, what do you got?
Is milk good for hydration?
Absolutely not. 1 to 7 deadly sins: alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener, dairy. So milk is loaded with, I don't have time to give you the whole lecture, but if you go to the website, drjoe.com, and type in 7 deadly sins of nutrition, I cover milk pretty in depth. I would say stay away from dairy, cow's milk. Oat milk, soy milk, coconut milk, those are better choices. What else?
Is there a natural remedy for blood clots?
Lumbar kinase, I don't have that as a supplement, but lumbar kinase has been shown to break up some clots. But really, you have to find out why you have the clots. So usually it's due to alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. So going to a plant-based diet would be vital for you. Increasing your raw foods, which has enzymes in it. I take Dr. Joe's digestive enzymes. You should too with every meal. And increasing your water intake as well to make the circulation easier. But lumbar kinase, you could look that one up. I don't carry it. It's not one of my supplements, but because we don't have a lot of blood clot patients, but it's something you might want to consider. But that's not going to fix your problem. You got to do everything. You got to change your diet. You got to get on more fruits and vegetables to get more enzymes in your diet. Stay away from the alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. That is going to get progress. Taking a supplement for clots is putting water in a bucket with a hole in it. It's going to fix one thing and just pour out the other side. So, what else you got?
How much coffee should I drink in a day?
Never. None. Zero. I don't drink coffee. You shouldn't either. Okay? If you're going to drink coffee, like I said, organic decaf, but don't drink coffee. It's not a good choice, and nothing good comes of it. Well, there is some good stuff, but the negative far outweigh the positive. What else?
Plant-based coffee creamer has vegetable oil in it. Is it okay to drink?
It's better than the cow's milk. Again, when I coach you guys, I coach you on better choices, not best choices. The best choice is staying away from the ones with vegetable oils, carrageenan, but it's a better choice than the dairy. So if you have to do it, because I'm also a realist, if you have to do it, do that, but try to find the ones that don't have the vegetable oils in it. Coconut oil will be okay, but not a soybean oil or anything like that.
Is there any reason to not take a melon cleanser twice a week?
A melon cleanser. I don't know what a melon cleanser is, so I can't answer that one. So, okay.
Is protein broken down in urine?
Is protein broken down in urine? I don't know if I understand the question. You can have protein in your urine, and if you do, it's usually a sign of kidney failure. But the kidneys don't digest protein. The stomach and the pancreas help digest proteins. But if it comes out in the urine, it's usually a sign of some type of infection or a kidney failure. So,
is monk fruit an artificial sweetener?
No, monk fruit's okay. That's an easy answer. What else?
All right. So a friend of mine wants to do a watermelon fast. What are your thoughts on that?
If you're just doing watermelon, I'm not a big fan of that because that's a lot of sugar. And I'm not sure that's the best way to do it. If you're going to do a fast, the best thing to do is like water with Super Greens and Essential Source twice a day. We have something on the website called the 21-Day Detox. That's the best, safest way to do it. And I would do the 21-Day Detox, and it's amazing. It cleans out your liver, your kidneys. It helps the brain work better. It cuts all your sugar cravings, helps you lose weight. That would be a better choice. But watermelon is really high in sugar, so I wouldn't say that's really a good choice.
Now, what would you say to somebody that is trying to increase their iron without having to take lots of large pills?
Okay, iron, anything green or anything red in the plant world is going to have iron in it. So rhubarb, cherries, watermelon, green leafy vegetables, kale, chard, Swiss chard, spinach. Super Greens and Essential Source are excellent sources. That's how I keep my iron levels where they are. Now, that being said, you may not need more iron. Many people that are anemic are not anemic. They just have low copper levels. Because iron is stored in the cells, and copper frees up the iron and puts it back into the blood. So you may have lots of iron already, and you put more iron, you're throwing fuel into the fire. And too much iron stored in the cells can oxidize. And if it oxidizes, it kills the cell, or it certainly causes damage to the cell. It's like rusting. So I would say make sure you're getting enough copper in your diet. And we do something, we can do an analysis here. We can do a hair analysis on you and determine your copper levels. But just be very, very careful not to take more iron if you think you have enough. Very few men are ever iron deficient, and very few postmenopausal women are ever iron deficient. So it's usually a copper issue. If it is, I think men and postmenopausal women should be donating blood as often as they can, because if we build up too much iron in our body, it can oxidize, and that's actually more dangerous than low iron. If you truly are low in iron and it's not a copper issue, Super Green, Essential Source, green leafy vegetables, red foods, green foods, and that should work well. There are plant-based iron supplements you can take. I can't think of the name of the company. They make a product called Mommy and Me. If you look up Mommy and Me, whatever that manufacturer is, they have Blood Builder. His name is Blood Builder, and that's a plant-based iron supplement. But don't take it unless you truly are deficient in iron. So, all right, what else?
I'll just add to that with this follow-up that this person's very low in copper. They test her, looks like her. They test her every few months, taking copper supplements now, but the doctor took them off of a multivitamin.
I don't know why they take you off the multivitamin. I don't know that, but yeah, so I was right.
Maybe if it had a lot of iron in it.
Yeah, if it had a lot of iron. Take a men's multi. Men's multi usually doesn't have iron in it then. But Super Green's an essential source, be a great source for you right there. So I was right. Copper was the issue there. Bam.
Now, I've got one that I'm interested in.
Nope, sorry, no questions for you. All right.
Well, it's not my question.
A friend of yours has this rash. Yeah.
Yeah, would you take a look at this? Mushroom coffee alternatives. Worth the hype or not?
Yes. That's
Awesome.
an easy one. Yeah, I like them actually.
Sierra got me one, and I've enjoyed it quite a lot.
I like it actually, yeah. When I make it, I sometimes I just forget, but I like them a lot actually, yeah. Good.
Let's see. Are ketone drinks any good for us?
No, not a fan of ketone and ketosis, and even some of the big advocates of ketogenic diet, like Dr. Mercola, who's a #1 health website in the world. I mean, he has just amazing stuff. He came out recently and said he was wrong, which I've been telling all along. The ketogenic diet is not good long term. Short term, maybe. He says maybe a month or two max. But again, he was one of the advocates that made it what it is today. And he said the long term research is coming out saying it's not a good idea. He says, I'm not a fan of it, and I was wrong, and please forgive me, and go back to a plant-based diet. He does meats too. But he does a whole, like a paleo diet, natural foods. But he said, yeah, don't do the keto diet. And I've been telling you since the beginning. So.
What can help cut sugar cravings?
Gymnema is excellent for that. If you send me an email, I can get it for you. We get it from a company that doesn't sell to the public, but we can get it. Gymnema is good. We're going to have a berberine supplement coming out pretty soon. Berberine is great for blood sugar. Cinnamon is great. If you just add a teaspoon or two of cinnamon to your food, you're going to find that you cut sugar cravings dramatically. So send me an email. Gymnema is the most effective. So send me an email. I'll give you the link to that product. So.
Foods, herbs, even habits for better kidney function or to help damaged kidney.
When I first got in practice many years ago, we never saw kidney patients, like ever. Now I see 3 or 4 kidney patients a week. And my golden girl, she came to me about 2 years ago now, and she sat on the table in my second adjusting room down where my office is, and she was in tears, and she said, my kidney function is 32. I'm going to die, and I don't want to die. I will do whatever you tell me to do. So I said anything. She said anything. What I'm doing is I'm dying. Doesn't matter. So I got her on a plant-based diet off all animal proteins. Animal proteins can tear up your kidneys. Plant proteins will not damage your kidneys. So off all animal products. I got her on nitric oxide to open up the blood vessels. I got her on a product called Renafood. And I can get it for you again. It's from a company that doesn't sell to the public. And about 6 months ago, it's about a year and a half after she started, she called me up and she said, I have to talk to Dr. Joe. It's an emergency. And I thought, uh-oh, this is bad. Kidneys are failing. So I go back to my office. I close the door. I pick up the phone. She goes, my kidney function's at 52. That's all I want to say. Goodbye. So she went from 32 to 52. She's doing amazing. Doctors are amazed. Nobody heals like that. And they basically said, whatever you're doing, just keep doing it. And she said, well, would you like to talk to my doctor who's fixed this thing for me? And they said no, which was amazing to me. and she brings in patients like crazy. I don't know where she finds all these kidney people, but she brings in new patients like crazy. So plant-based diet, go to my website, drjoe.com, and type kidneys in the search bar. We did a whole show on kidneys. But if you have kidney failure already, Super Green's an essential source. Nitric oxide, absolutely. Digestive enzymes help break down your proteins in your diet. And then email me, and I'll get you some Rena-Food as well, and that works really well for kidney as well. So.
Going back to the copper, you recommend Super Greens, and what else would you recommend?
Super Green's an essential source, and what you can do is just look up sources of copper. Nuts are good sources, lentils and things like this. But look up plant-based sources of copper and just start eating those foods. And you want to get the copper into the diet so you can free up the iron, and chances are your iron levels will go up because it's there. It just has to be freed up into the blood. So.
Now, if I were to drink lemon water every day, is there a point where too much lemon water is bad?
Not really. I mean, you'd have to drink an awful lot. So if you're just drinking lemon diluted with water, you're perfectly fine.
Yeah, what is the LDL 50 for?
LDL 50?
Whether the lethal dose for...
Oh, lethal dose of, half of it? Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking LDL, low density lipoproteins. I don't know what that is.
The LD 50.
LD 50. Okay, yeah, LD 50 versus LDL 50, yeah. I don't know what the lethal dose is, but it's got to be a lot. So...
One bag of lemons and an Italian gangster.
That's right. Yes. Dr. Joey Bag of Walnuts. He might get you. If you don't know who he is, you're going to meet him soon. A little tease for Dr. Joey Bag of Walnuts. All right. We ready for... Oh, my gosh. We've got a whole other half a show to do? My goodness. I ate some sesame seeds the other day, and maybe there's one still caught there. It just doesn't want to come up. All right. Where were we? That was too much fun. All right. Ready for part 2? Hey, folks, Dr. Joe, glad you're with us today. What we're going to talk about today, what we have been talking about, are reasons why you're so tired. How many of you are tired all the time? A lot of you are. And so we're giving you reasons why you're so tired. Now, we talked about nutritional deficiencies, and that's really such an easy fix. And most people out there are nutritionally deficient. In fact, I've tested hundreds of people, maybe thousands, for nutritional deficiencies. We can do blood work, we can do allergy testing, we can do urine analysis. Hair analysis, I've never found anyone who wasn't deficient in something, myself included. My hair was starting to turn gray a couple of years ago, which is expected as I get older. So I did a hair analysis, and one of the things that came up with is I was low in selenium. So I started supplementing and eating foods with selenium, and all my gray hair went away. On my chest, I have a little bit in my beard, but not much anymore. On my head, everything. And in fact, I had a friend of mine who I've known for over 40 years, and he said to me, he goes, Espo, because Esposito called me Espo. Espo, what do you dye your hair with? I don't dye my hair with anything. He says, Espo, you're talking to me. Come on, tell me the truth. What do you dye your hair with? It looks great. I said, I don't dye my hair, I promise you. So in my case, I was selenium deficient. That's not saying that's your case. That's saying my case. So nutritional deficiencies are so rampant. And so I created supplements, like kind of cover everything supplements, Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. And they have prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, complete multivitamin. Super Greens has chlorella and spirulina, detoxify your liver, has omega-3 fatty acids. Both of them are excellent source of iodine from sea vegetables, because most of us are deficient in iodine as well. So I try to cover, when I created these things, the best I could, generally speaking. How am I going to cover the masses with it? And they're on my website, drjoe.com. Relatively inexpensive. They taste great. They're powders. So I shake them up with some coconut milk or almond milk or water, make a smoothie with it, take it at least once a day. If I have a busy day, I'll take a second dose, or at least a half a second dose. So nutritional deficiencies are probably one of the biggest reasons you're tired all the time. I'm going to talk about water in a second, but water is the second reason that you're tired all the time. So a lot of your fatigue is so easily fixed. And you don't need coffee, you don't need tea, you don't need stimulants or pills or smoke something. And it's really easy to fix the fatigue issues. Now, sometimes there's medical issues. And these are issues that may require more attention. It's not just a simple fix. But sleep apnea, hypothyroidism. Thyroid problems are rampant in our society because very few people get enough iodine. Very few people get any iodine. Maybe into some salt. That's the only source of iodine they have. Your thyroid needs iodine to function. Cancer can make you tired. There's something called chronic fatigue syndrome, which is a bunch of different things. Multiple sclerosis, anxiety disorders, kidney disease. I said earlier that when I first got in practice almost 40 years ago, I very seldom saw a kidney patient. Now I see 3 or 4 new ones a week. Such a rampant problem, and a lot of it has to do with these high-protein diets, I believe, my opinion, and the chemicals that we're putting in our body, and you're expecting the kidneys to filter them out, and they just can't. So depression can cause fatigue, diabetes, fibromyalgia. So it's important to know that it's not normal to feel exhausted constantly. Don't accept that as the norm. If you experience frequent fatigue, it's probably one of the things we're talking about today. So get the proper treatment for the underlying condition. Many times that solves the problem. So this is where it's a good idea to come see us as patients. In the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. We can do virtual consultations if we need to. But let's find out why you're having these health problems. Because I don't get why everyone, sometimes there are days where people line up to get in our offices. I get those. Those are great days. But I wish it was every day. Not because I want people waiting to come see us, and I have 6 doctors, so we can see patients very quickly. But the concern I have is that so many people are suffering and they're not doing a damn thing about it. And that breaks my heart. When I go to grocery store, if I'm on a cruise, if I'm out in public and I look at these people, young people in scooters with oxygen, sometimes I understand it's a disease condition, but so many of these cases are self-induced. And I see a lot of patients. Between our 4 offices, we have a very good reputation for helping get people well. Can't promise anything. We can't guarantee anything. But we have a very good reputation for getting good results. And I see the patients. I know what you guys are doing out there. I know what you did last summer and last week and last night probably. So we want to try to get to the cause of the problem. And we work with other doctors as well to try to do a very thorough analysis. Poor diet, that significantly affects your energy level, your brain function, your sexual function, your energy overall, your sleep patterns. So in order to maintain and get the nutrients in your body to perform well, it's important that you consume the right amounts of fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. I don't like the concept of a balanced diet because that would mean you're eating a little bit of this, a little bit of that. When I went to school, it was the 4 basic food groups. 3 of the 4 basic food groups were on there because of lobbyists. They paid the politicians who were in the board to put together the 4 basic food groups. And that's not a secret. I'm not being a conspiracy theorist. That's what happened. So then they went to the food pyramid. Still don't like it. Really, what you should be eating is mostly a plant-based diet. It's very simple. And you try to eat something raw at every meal. Now, if you're not going to eat all plant-based, that's okay. I'll negotiate with you. I'm a realist. Very few people. I know one personal friend of mine who eats a plant-based diet. That's it. If I didn't hang out with people that didn't eat plant-based diets, I'd have no friends. So I get that the world is not going to do everything I say, but I can give you the information and then you can sort and pick and choose what you want to. But a poor diet is so key because what happens is inside your cells, you have something called the mitochondria, everything but red blood cells. And mitochondria generate electricity and give you energy. If the mitochondria are healthy, you're going to live a long, happy, healthy life. Most cases. If the mitochondria are weak, that leads to fatigue and opens up the chance of you getting a lot more diseases. A couple of weeks ago, I did a show on omega-6 fatty acids and vegetable oils. And omega-6 fatty acids, linoleic specifically, there's different types, but most omega-6s are linoleic. They get into the cells, and your cell wall, your cell has a wall around it, and then the mitochondria lives inside the cell, and it has a wall around it too. And they made up of a lipoprotein layer. Lipo means fat, protein means protein. And so you need good fats and good proteins to build this strong wall, this fortress around each cell. If you're putting cheap oils in the body, like soybean oil, corn oil, and I don't mean financially cheap, I mean nutritionally cheap. Soybean, cottonseed, sesame seed, sunflower oil, safflower oil, corn, cottonseed. I don't know who that eats cotton seeds. But these plant-based, these seed oils are loaded with omega-6s. And if that's all the oil that you have, your cells have to use it to build a fortress. It's not building an iron fortress, it's building a mud fortress. The walls work, but they don't work very well. And so now the mitochondria are not going to work very well because they can oxidize, and the oxidation can attack the inner workings of the mitochondria. and you get tired all the time. Saturated fats clump your red blood cells together. You can't carry oxygen. You get tired all the time. So a poor diet is so intricately related to so many things, including fatigue. If you're eating ultra-processed foods, you need to stop. What's an ultra-processed food? Definition is food that has ingredients in it that you wouldn't find in the average person's kitchen. That's an ultra-processed food. So if I look at a package and it has chemicals in it that I can't pronounce, and I wouldn't have it in my kitchen, even if I'm the average American, you shouldn't eat that food. Ultra-processed foods usually have a long shelf life, but honey has a long shelf life too, and that's not an ultra-processed food. So that's not the only thing. But ultra-processed foods can impair energy levels. A diet high in sugar can harm your sleep and lead to chronic high blood pressure and high insulin levels, and that can cause fatigue as well. So if you don't know what to eat, and I know it gets confusing, believe me, we post every day on social media all around the world. And so 99.999% of the people just love it, and every now and then somebody knows more than me. You don't know what you're talking about. Sugar's fine. I posted on high fructose corn syrup a couple weeks ago. All sugar is exactly the same. You don't know what you're talking about. Well, that is a very untrue statement. That sugars are different. There's fructose, glucose, maltose, galactose. Lactose is a sugar that's found in certain foods like milk. So that's not true. And all sugars have to be processed, and they eventually become glucose. And glucose is the type of sugar that your body uses as a fuel. So if you're eating a lot of fructose, let's say, high fructose corn syrup, fructose converts into glucose in your liver. If you listened earlier, we talked about how bad people's livers are. And in the process, it can clog up the liver, create uric acid. Uric acid can get your joints and it hurts. And uric acid prevents the body from producing nitric oxide. Nitric oxide opens up your blood vessels and increases circulation. So, not a good idea if you're eating an ultra-processed diet to expect to have good energy, because the fats can affect the mitochondria and the wall. In fact, the cell wall and the mitochondria wall. Omega-6 fatty acids can oxidize and damage the mitochondria. If you have too much insulin, insulin acts like a key. Insulin goes to a cell and opens up the cell and allows sugar in, glucose specifically. If you eat too much sugar and you produce too much insulin, the insulin keeps going to the cell and say, open up, let some more sugar in. The cell says, no, I can't. And so eventually the cell starts to resist the insulin and you become insulin resistant. And so then the sugar floats around in your blood. Not getting into the cell, it's not being used as fuel, it's not giving you energy. The number one cause of diabetes, type 2 diabetes, is not sugar. It's saturated fat. And that's meat, butter, cheese, yogurt, eggs, ice cream, standard American diet. So cut out those saturated fats and you're in good shape. And you're going to have a lot more energy too. A recent cause of fatigue, and I need to do a show on this actually, I keep promising to do it, I have so much research on it, is long COVID. People that had COVID, even before it was testable, they didn't test, so they never knew they were positive for it. And then people that had COVID and maybe had it and got tested afterwards and tested negative because it was out of their system already, but they still had it, that can be an issue. So long COVID can cause a lot of problems. And I have, again, I'm going to do a show on it because I got so much information on it. But long COVID could be the reason why you're tired all the time. If that's the case, you really need to knuckle down and work harder. And you need to do things like Supergreen, Essential Source, nitric oxide. You need to get the body in motion. You need to stay away from the saturated fats, the alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, artificial sweetener. Because we don't know how long this is going to last. Because we're the guinea pigs. And it might be forever if you don't do something about it. My feeling, my opinion, is that the sooner you get to it, the better off you're going to be. It's trying to revitalize the body and get the mitochondria working again. The longer you wait, the harder it's going to be to fix. This is my opinion. I have no proof of that because I don't have the long-term studies yet. I don't have double-blind studies on it. But I can tell you that long COVID, when I interview my patients, when did the fatigue start? When did the headaches start? When did the diarrhea start? When did the impotence start? Oh, it started about 6 months ago. What happened 6 months ago? Well, I just got over COVID. So it's a real thing. And it's funny because I got an email the other day, and it was from a company that wants to have me promote hair replacements. Okay? And they said, the good news is that hair replacement business is skyrocketing because one of the side effects of long COVID is hair loss. Another side effect of taking this drug that curbs your appetite, semaglutides, they curb your appetite and you lose weight from it. One of the side effects of that is hair loss. So they're now promoting, hey, listen, with long COVID and the semaglutide craze of everybody taking it to lose weight, you're going to be able to build your practice by selling hair transplants. They're not wrong. I mean, these are real things. Those are two real things that are happening. So I'm not offended by it because it's a real thing. And so many people are going to have these hair loss problems, and you can kind of cash in on it, so to speak. I'd rather try to get to the cause of the problem. I'm not a big fan of these medications that you take to lose weight real fast. Do they work to lose weight? Yes. Are the side effects crazy? Yes. In fact, I even heard recently, law firm, one of the big advertising law firms, have you taken this drug for weight loss? If you have, you may be entitled to compensation. Call us. So even though it's a new drug, they're already jumping on, we're going to sue them for all the damage that it's doing issue. So just be careful. If it's a miracle drug, it might be an issue. I don't know. Maybe it's not. But in this case, I think it's going to be, in my opinion. So what we're talking about today, as I digress, is we're talking about why you're so tired all the time. And one of the things that can make you tired all the time is consuming too much caffeine. I know that sounds counterintuitive. Wait a minute. Caffeine gives me energy. But caffeinated beverages give you a boost of energy. Over-reliance on them can make you more tired the next day. And I can give you the whole process of what happens. You have a chemical in your brain called adenosine. Adenosine is released. It gets absorbed by something called adenosine receptor sites. And that's where adenosine gets absorbed. And it makes you tired. And that's how your brain works. Hey, I've had enough. I need to release adenosine and shut down and take a break. Well, caffeine looks like adenosine. And it blocks up your adenosine receptor sites, so you can't absorb the caffeine. And so now the body says, I'm tired. I can't absorb it blocks up the caffeine, so you can't absorb the adenosine. And the brain says, I need to be tired. I need to rest. I'm going to make more adenosine receptor sites. And so now you start absorbing adenosine again. You start getting tired. So you say, wait a minute. 1 cup of coffee used to work. Now I need 2. Now I need 4. And so you're actually altering the physical structure of your brain by changing the adenosine receptor site level. And so coming off it, you can get headaches because you have too many adenosine receptor sites, and that somehow that causes the headaches. So in my first book that I ever wrote called Eating Right for the Health of It, I have a chapter, and in the chapter, I talk about kicking the habit. And what I mean by that is I want you to take 1 cup of coffee, organic coffee, put it in front of you, no cream, no sugar, and take 1 tablespoon every hour. And that'll give you just enough caffeine to kind of get those adenosine receptor sites to reboot themselves and heal and hopefully get you out of there without the crash, without the headaches. But research shows that feeling tired in the morning leads people to consume large amounts of caffeine, which impairs their sleep cycle. Even a little bit of caffeine can impair your sleep cycle later on today. So then you overuse coffee because you're tired all the time and you get caught in this cycle. And so too much caffeine can actually be worse for you over time. So coffee and caffeinated beverages like green tea can benefit. They have some benefits. Energy drinks are extremely high in stimulants and added sugar. You really need to avoid those energy drinks. They are killing people. It's too much. Works. I never did one, but I understand they work, but you got to be careful. And then, of course, we got smart and said, what if I added vodka to my energy drink? I'll be awake and drunk. That's not a good combination, folks. Don't do that. So if you're experiencing sleep issues, you want to cut back on your decaffeinated beverages. What you can do to get a burst of energy, we talked about this earlier, Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source, of course. You got to start your day with that. Nitric oxide. If you have low blood pressure, don't take nitric oxide. You can email me and I'll give you a protocol for it. But if you have normal or high blood pressure, nitric oxide opens up your blood vessels and it really helps increase circulation. I love it. B-complex. Most people are deficient in B vitamins, so take Dr. Joe's B-complex. That works well. And then adrenal support helps fix your adrenals or heal your adrenals so that you can get back to normal again. So we have a whole protocol of supplements for energy. And by the way, if you took all of them every day, a couple of times a day, still cheaper than what you spend it on coffee. So you can't argue that the only inconvenience is you have to take it when you swallow it. But the nice part is you have to do that with coffee anyway, so just drink water and do that. So if you burn out your adrenal glands, Dr. Joe's adrenal support, and I think if you're over 30, you should be on adrenal support, my personal opinion. So for most people. And the most important thing really is get the body tuned up. It's like your car. It runs more efficiently if it's tuned up. So the way the body works is your brain sends messages down the spine, out the nerves to every cell in the body. And so if you have interference with that flow of energy, that can cause problems. So how do you know you have interference? Well, if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, muscle weakness, those are signs you have pinched nerves. Chiropractic care, most effective, least expensive treatment for that. So absolutely positively start with chiropractic care in pain management. I don't know why that's not the law. So you should start there. And then we can do a nutrition evaluation, check your digestive system, and build it up from there. So if you want to get a tune-up, and remember, 90% of your nerves don't feel pain. You still need to tune them up too. If you want to get an evaluation to see if you're a candidate for care, go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com, and you can book an appointment right online. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. We want to be your doctors. We would love the opportunity to be your doctors. So book the appointment right online. You can do that right now. We have appointments every week at all offices, so we can get you in as soon as possible. Don't procrastinate. It's like your car. If it's not working right, and the longer you drive it, the more problems you're going to have. Same thing with your body. So drjoe.com, we can get you in right away. Normally, the first visit is $940. I've reduced that for my listeners to $299. Exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays, and a complete nutrition evaluation. Why wouldn't you do this? And then from there, if you are a candidate, we'll talk about a protocol for you. We'll talk about your insurance coverage if you have it. If you don't have insurance, probably 40-50% of our patients don't have insurance. It's the most affordable treatment plan available. We have payment plans available, cash discounts. I mean, we have so many different ways to make it so you can afford to be a patient with us. So drjoe.com. And if you're ever in a car accident, please, folks, if you're ever in a car accident, come see us immediately. Don't fall for scams. Don't have people call you up and say, oh, come see this doctor, this lawyer. No one's ever going to do that to you. That's a scam. It's a very popular scam. And if you're in an accident, I promise you, you will get phone calls. They're all scams. Don't do it. So if you want to make an appointment for whatever the situation is, drjoe.com. Bring your kids in too. Let's get your kids healthy, because if they're healthy, they grow up healthier. They have a better chance of growing up healthy. So drjoe.com. Follow us on social media at Dr. Joe Esposito. All one word, DRJOE, at Dr. Joe Esposito. We post every day, at least once a day, 1-minute posts. So it's really popular to do that. If you have any questions, send them to me through the website, drjoe.com. Happy to answer your questions for you. Make an appointment. You can pick up supplements in our offices or order them. We ship them next business day. We ship most countries around the world, which is kind of nice. We can do that too. And if you're a podcast junkie, go to your podcast service and type in Dr. Joe for the health of it. Dr. Joe for the health of it. But I promise you I'd talk a little bit more about hydration. It's so important. Dehydration occurs when you don't drink enough liquid to replace the water that you lose. You lose it through your urine, your stools, your sweat, your breath. We're constantly losing fluid in our body. So being dehydrated leads to lower energy and decreased concentration ability. So if I had to give you one thing to do right now, starting immediately, is start drinking more water. Water is going to be the key to making everything else work. Chiropractic care, supplements, nutrition, bowel function, brain function. It's the quickest, easiest, cheapest thing you can do is just drink more water. And people say, how much? 6 glasses a day, 8 glasses a day. That's usually about a good number. I try to drink it before 3 o'clock. I wake up in the morning. I have my Super Greens and Essential Source, of course. Have a big cup of tea and a big glass of water. Then I have another glass of water, another cup of tea throughout the day, and then I eat a lot of vegetables with, like I had a big tomato salad, and so that has a lot of fluid in it too. So I'm getting about 6 to 8 glasses of water a day, but it's a concerted effort. You have to actually think about it. Okay, I got to make sure I drink this water. So just fill up a glass and drink it. It takes you 30 seconds maybe, and you're going to be amazed if you do that, how much better everything works. If you're on medication, if you're under counseling, if you're getting physical therapy, if you're getting chiropractic care, if you just had surgery, if you need surgery, there's nothing in the world that doesn't respond well to drinking a lot of water, except maybe a few special conditions. So drink more water, folks. It's such an easy, quick fix. And if you're overweight, of course, that's exhausting. My mom spent her whole life overweight, and it just breaks my heart, and especially my mom, because I remember just crying, literally crying when I'd look at her and say, God, Mom, stop eating that cake. Stop eating those cookies. And she couldn't do it. And she could have come live with me. I would have straightened her out. But eventually her knees wore out and she had one knee replaced and then she had a second knee replaced and eventually that killed her. So weight loss is such a tough thing. On our website, drjoe.com, if you just type in weight loss, we did a whole class on weight loss, whole workshop. And if you type in 21 day, we have a 21-day detox cleanse that I do recommend to kind of jumpstart a weight loss program because it helps reset your brain. It helps get rid of cravings. It's a wonderful program. And it's, again, the money you save doing it, you're not buying all the junk food that you usually buy. It actually pays for itself. You actually usually make money when you do it. So that's a great jumpstart for a protocol to lose weight. But losing weight I know it's difficult. I used to be fat. I have stretch marks on my chest, the back of my legs. I understand the challenge of losing weight because I used to be fat, and coming from a fat family, it was very challenging for me. And it breaks my heart because that's one thing you have control over. It's hard, but it's worth it. Again, the website, drjoe.com. If you have any questions, folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. Thanks for tuning in. Tell your friends about the show. All right. What you got?
Will sweet tea help remove toxins from the body?
No. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't it be nice?
Can physical activity keep you from sleeping?
Yes. I used to play hockey, and sometimes we have night games. And, man, I'd come home, I was wide awake. I'd sit in a cold bath and just trying to cool off, and I could not. I was wired, man. So I try to do your workouts in the morning. Try it at night. If you can't get to sleep, then do your workouts in the morning or just do your physical activity in the morning. What else?
My friend has psoriasis on her hands. Is there anything natural she can use?
Almost always a liver issue when I see psoriasis. So you keep trying to treat it from the outside and it doesn't solve it. But the two things she can do right away is give up wheat and dairy products. Many times after 2 weeks or so, the psoriasis starts to get better. It may not solve everything, but it's usually a reaction to wheat and dairy. Then she can do the 21-day detox. That'll clean out her liver, and oftentimes that just solves the problem. It's done. So give up wheat and dairy now, and if she's willing to do the 21-day cleanse, that's what I'd suggest.
I have aortic stenosis 1.0 CMY. Can you help me without surgery?
In most cases, yes. We see aortic stenosis cases all day, every day. And it's almost always self-induced. You did it to yourself. And if we get the arteries cleaned out, in most cases, we see the change, dramatic. And we have patients, about 4 in my career actually, that have come in and they had 5 centimeters or more of clogged aorta. And those are emergency cases. And I immediately said, you have to go to the hospital now. Every one of them had surgery within a couple of days, and every one of them, the cardiologist said, you saved their life. I had no idea. And they were the cardiologist. They all had cardiologists. I had no idea it was this bad. And yet, little old chiropractor found it and saved their lives. So, it's a nutritional protocol. So you might want to set up a nutrition protocol with me, a consultation, and we'll put together a whole protocol for you, and let's go get them cleaned out. What else?
There's a new trend of putting castor oil on your belly button to receive the benefits. Does that make sense?
I have no idea if it works. I've heard it. I don't think it's dangerous. So if you want to put castor oil on your belly button, I'm probably okay with that. I have no idea if it works, though. But I hear a lot about it. So. It's not new, by the way. It's very old.
Do you have a favorite sugar alcohol?
Xylitol is okay. I'm a stevia guy, though. So stevia and monk fruit are my 2 favorites. Xylitol is probably the one I'd use. Erythritol, probably, if you had to. But I'm a stevia guy. So.
Thoughts on drinking green tea with probiotic and honey daily?
I'm okay with that, but the probiotics are going to get killed by the hot tea. So that's really a silly thing. It's not going to do you any good. But green tea with a little bit of organic honey, I'm probably okay with, yeah. I'd rather use stevia, but if you're going to use honey, organic honey is okay.
A couple of people mentioned that you talk very fast.
You're correct. That is right.
So I started researching live stream closed captioning.
There we go.
So I will see if I can get that working for the next show. No promises. But if not, at least sometime soon.
And remember, we always have these shows archived. So you could always go to, where are they? Facebook, Instagram, website?
Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube, and...
Yeah. You can always go back. And I know I talk fast. And I'll tell you, I can't tell you a funny story because there's a curse word in it, but the only coaching I ever got in my entire radio career was slow the down. So that was the advice I got from my mentor. So.
The point for that, though, is could you reiterate or dive a little deeper into things to avoid with long COVID?
Yes, well, you avoid the 7 deadly sins, absolutely. Alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. Supplement-wise, Super Green, Essential Source, nitric oxide, unless you have low blood pressure, B-complex, and then I take omega-3s to bring down the inflammation because I have a feeling, and I had COVID, I have a feeling that with COVID there's going to be some brain inflammation coming up later on. We're going to find it. So omega-3 fatty acids are really important for that too. And adrenal support to help with the inflammatory reaction. So.
Is drinking energy drinks with zero sugar bad for you?
Yes.
And I also question, why is it zero sugar? What is in place of the sugar?
Well, they probably put artificial sweetener in there. I don't know. I've never had one, so I don't know. But probably artificial sweetener, yeah. Which is worse.
Now, what is this about castor oil? What does castor oil actually do?
It comes from the castor bean. When I was young, my grandmother's theory, if you had anything wrong, was to take an enema and take some castor oil because it would clean out your bowels. But castor oil is supposed to sink into the body and draw things out. And it does work, I know, if you have pain, swelling. You can put castor oil packs on your body. You take some linen, gauze, dip it in some castor oil, warm castor oil, and put it over the area, and it actually is a salve, and it draws things out of the body. So there is some benefit to it, but I don't know how much. I just know that it's probably not going to hurt you. So.
Speaking of cleaning out your bowels, there was a
because we talk about it all the time.
There's an Indian comedian who was laughing because people always, walk up to him randomly and say, "I love Indian food." And he's like, "So do I." But he finished the joke talking about how they made the food so spicy because the follow up from somebody just walking up to him is, but it always makes when it comes out it burns.
Right.
And he said, yeah, well we did that for the British. That was our payback. We gave you Indian food, but we didn't tell you that when we eat Indian food, we always finish with a yogurt or some form of probiotic.
Yes. The yogurt calms the heat down, yeah.
Fill it back in. Then there's a question here about the nitric oxide is currently out of stock on Amazon. I will check that as soon as the show is done, but you can always order the supplements on the website directly.
Just go to drjoe.com. This way, because with Amazon, it goes through Amazon and it's issues. drjoe.com, just go there. Same price. So get it there. I know we have it there. But Garrett will check on that.
Now, what about an energy drink sweetened with stevia, no other additives?
It still has taurine and other stimulants that are not good for the brain and the liver and the nervous system. So I know you're trying. I know you're reaching. But I gave you the protocol. Super Green, Essential Source, B-complex, adrenal support, nitric oxide. It's going to be cheaper than your drinks anyway. So.
If you need it in 2 days, we do a 2 and 3 day priority. It says 3 day priority, but it usually is 2 days, depending on the zone that you're shipping to.
Yeah, if we're shipping to London or something like that, it may not get there in 2 days, but usually within the lower 48, we can get it to you in 2 days. So.
Yeah, I think that extends just past Colorado, and okay. It's usually about 2 days.
Yeah, we'll do what we can for you, man. Believe me, and once you get. I love when people say, Dr. Joe, I can't afford not to take this stuff. And I said, yeah, I get it. It's so amazing that you work so much better, you feel so much better, you sleep so much better, your love life improves. There's really not a downside to taking quality supplements. So. What else?
Let's see. What do you think about keto gummies?
Nope, not a fan of keto anything. So.
How is the intestinal cleanser made?
In a factory. No. It's Echinacea paldiarco olive leaf extract. If I remember, no, senna. That's senna root. We take the herbs mixed together and put in a capsule, and it's made. Where's our manufacturer? In Oregon?
Florida, Oregon, and New York.
Okay, yeah. So we have different manufacturers. Yeah. So you take the herbs and mix them together.
And out in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. Yeah. So okay, good. Yeah.
That one specifically, I think, is out in the PNW.
That's what I thought. That was the one that we have to get special made because it's such a. When I formulated it, it was such a high priority, complicated formula. that we couldn't even find a manufacturer to do it. So we found one. I thought it was Oregon that does it for us. Yeah. So they just get the herbs, mix it together, put them in a capsule. And again, we have to have it manufactured because there's certain guidelines and laws that have to be followed, and we're not set up to do that. So we have to have people that follow the FDA guidelines. So, yeah.
Have you worked with apheresis patients? Apheresis.
Apheresis. Kidney?
Well, let's see. I get every 4 weeks. Doctors still seem to think something from COVID, but treat as encephalitis. Encephalitis.
Oh, encephalitis.
Okay.
Encephalitis, yes. Okay, yes. Encephalitis.
Skin biopsies and diagnosed with alpha synuclein.
Yeah. I love when Garrett does this. It's fun. Encephalitis is inflammation of the brain, and the answer is yes. Again, long COVID we're gonna be coming up with stuff for years to come, and that's why I really need to do I'm gonna talk to my bosses at the station tomorrow, and I'm gonna see if we can maybe do a special on just on long COVID. Yeah. So the answer is yes. We got to get an anti-inflammatory protocol. We have to get the cerebrospinal fluid pump working for you, and that's your occiput and your sacrum. And every time you breathe, your occiput and your sacrum do this. It pumps cerebrospinal fluid. Okay, it's called the sacrooccipital pump. And with encephalitis, many times the inflammation puts pressure on the occiput, which prevents the pumping, which prevents you from pumping out the encephalitis. So, yeah, we have special tables we can put you on to pump that, chiropractic care to open up the spine, and then nutritional as well. So the answer is yes. So come see us. What else?
What are your thoughts on IV treatments? Considering some vitamins are water soluble, isn't that a waste?
Yeah. Some they'll sometimes give you a B complex injection, but sometimes they'll put together these cocktails, Myers cocktails, and inject it. I like it. It works. I think if you do a good diet, you don't need them. But there's these little spas popping up now, and we'll give you a B complex shot, and we'll give you a niacin shot, and so I'm not against it. I don't see any downside to it, but I don't know if they're really necessary. So.
Can you take omega-3 while on blood pressure medicine?
Yes.
And this person's in North Carolina. Can you do this virtually or work with a chiropractor locally?
Yes, I can do it virtually. If you're near Raleigh, I have one of the best chiropractors in the world, Dr. Tom Ayers, and he's in Raleigh if you're near Raleigh. But if not, we can. He doesn't know nutrition like I do. He's my chiropractor. He was my old college roommate, actually, but one of the finest chiropractors in the world. So if you're near Raleigh, see him for the chiropractic, and I can do the nutrition. So.
That is all for today.
Awesome. You guys are great, man. I appreciate you guys very much. Again, follow us on all platforms, if you would, as a favor to me. If you're listening live, put in #live. If you're listening replay, put in #replay. See you next week.